The land that would become Florida once belonged to a diverse group of indigenous peoples. The Timucua farmed the lands in North Florida. The homeland of the Appalachians extended east to west from the Ocilla River to the Ochlockonee River, which got its name from the Hichi language once spoken there. The Ayas people's land stretched from the Florida Keys to what is now St. Augustine, a destination we visit in Friday's show. Just to the south, the Yega lived in what is now Palm Beach County. Tocobega people lived on the Gulf side of the state, near what we call Tampa today. The Taino people, indigenous to the Caribbean, also live in Florida.
The land that came to be called Miami was named after the Miami people. Miami-Dade County, as well as other lands we speak about in the show, was taken from indigenous people by Spaniards and settlers. These stolen lands were then given to Henry Flagler and others to bring a railroad to South Florida. This land, however, is the homeland of the Seminole, Miami, and Tequesta people who hunted, gathered, and lived in what would become Florida for generations, long before it was settled by Europeans and those from northern states.
The Seminole people fought 3 wars to protect themselves and their land from white exploitation and settlement. Sam Jones led a small band of Seminoles who stayed hidden in the Big Cypress Swamp. Of the approximately 3,500 Seminoles in Florida today, many are descendants of this small band. The indigenous people of Florida make innumerable contributions to our state, and we acknowledge their presence and legacy here. We thank them for taking care of this land long before colonizers arrived, and for continuing to do so. We could not tell her stories without them. For more information on their legacy, please see the links in our playbill.
The soft coos of egrets and the chirps of cicadas serenaded the Everglades in the early morning hours. Their music of serenity was disrupted by the sounds of muskets firing and the crack of cannons that could be heard miles away like a distant thunder. The U.S. Army scouting parties had just destroyed a Seminole camp full of families this crisp December morning. In retaliation for killing his people, Chief Billy Bowlegs, a Seminole leader and warrior, strategically coordinated a raid near Fort Myers. This deadly attack set off many skirmishes and raids between the Seminoles and the U.S. Army. The main goal for the Army was to capture all of the Seminoles and send them to Oklahoma. And the main goal of the Seminoles was to survive and to fight to stay on their ancestral land. Many lives were lost during the Seminole Wars, and many of those lives were of Seminole women and children. Besides the threat of getting captured to be sent to Oklahoma and or possibly killed, there was also the menacing thought of being raped by the U.S. soldiers. These were the dangers that loomed over a young Seminole mother and her 2 young girls as they ran quietly in the early morning hours. They have been running for miles in the dark Everglades already. The sunrise was coming, making the skies look bruised. With each step they took, they hoped it gave them a safe distance from the encroaching U.S. Army. As they ran, the young Seminole girl named Miami desperately pumped her tired legs to keep up. Her heart was beating wildly, and with each breath she took, her lungs felt like they were on fire. She was tired, but her little legs carried her as fast as they could. She was between the ages of 4 and 6 years old. Miami was running from the U.S. soldiers with her mother and sister to hide further into the deep Florida Everglades. It was the Third Seminole War. As Miami grew up during a volatile time as a child, she volunteered to be a scout. She would climb oak trees and sit silently. Miami would wait to catch a glimpse of the U.S. Army and then run back to Seminole warriors or Seminole families with her information. Her actions helped to keep her people free from capture by the U.S. soldiers. Years after the Third Seminole War came to a close in 1858, Miami started her own family. She lived a full life and well beyond her years. Her story is not written in history books as many Seminole heroines, but it is remembered and passed on through her family. Her survival kept her family lineage alive, and with her unconquerable heart, she became a part of the many heroic Seminoles who were determined to keep their people free.
El 7 de enero 1860. Mi vida. Primero, we miss you, Juan. The children and I. The examiner wrote about your death. Monday last, Joseph Andreo was engaged in whitewashing the tower of the Lighthouse. They said, the scaffolding gave way. They said, fell 60 feet and died almost instantly. They said, we have removed the scaffolding.
El 9 de diciembre 1859. Querida Maria. First, I know I haven't written you a letter since the birth of our last child, but although I've loved you more each day hence, our love is older now. So perhaps you're not needful of such youthful displays of emotion. But perhaps, my love, you are. Before I begin today's work, I'm compelled to set down what's in my heart.
I know I have not written you in years, but I long to do more than speak to the sea. You are now as adrift as the ships our tower illuminates. It is a wonder to us all. Yet I know these words from my hands, and my heart will reach you.
Maria, you are a wonder. The beautiful queen of our tower. You feed and teach our children. You are my right hand to my left hand. You are the oil that feeds the flames of our 10 burning lamps. While it is I who earns the salary, it is you that has kept the light atop this tower burning for the past 5 years, as it has burned for 450 years before us. it is always you who guides me home.
Although you are gone, we are still here. I wake each morning and vow to keep the light burning. The children help when they can, teaching each other, tending the garden, waking at night to ascend the stairs when they see that I am tired. I hold the words you said in my heart. It is our duty to care for mariners, to help those in distress, and to keep watch, always.
I want you to know, mi vida, mi amor, if anything should happen to me, I will remain close. Keep watch for me. It is our sacred duty. It's our service. It's our promise to each other.
December 20th, 1859. Dear Governor, Sir, as it may please you, I write to you today in support of Mrs. Maria Mestre de los Dolores Andreu, the wife of our recently deceased lighthouse keeper, Mr. Joseph Juan Andreu. I write too on behalf of the citizens of St. Augustine, who are in agreement that Mrs. Andreu should maintain her post at the lighthouse. Although she is a woman,
we believe that Mrs. Andreu should continue to keep the lighthouse and petition that she be appointed to this position officially. She is highly qualified, having watched her children, her husband, and the shores of La Florida with diligence for years. We trust her to bring the lost safely home.
Therefore, Mr. Governor, Sir, we beseech you to appoint Mrs. Maria Andreu to continue her work in the lighthouse and be paid the appropriate salary for doing so. Let her carry out the legacy of her husband and family and keep the light atop the tower burning.
Finally, my love, I must thank you. You taught me to be a light keeper. I will keep the light burning so that you will always know the way home.
El 9 de diciembre 1859. Querida María. To Max Barbershop. We're certainly glad to see you here today. Now, we're going to tell some stories today. Because Hattie, my new business partner, she thinks that she got some stories.
Oh, I know I do.
And as a matter of fact, she tells me her stories are better than mine. So we're going to find out today, and you going to be the judge. All right? So this is how we're going to do this. Now, I'm going to need some help telling my stories. So Hattie is going to help me, and I'm going to help Hattie with her stories. Now, you all got to pay attention.
Are you ready, Hattie?
I'm ready. Now sit still, Barbara. I don't want to burn your head, and this is a mess.
Well, now, I'm going to go first. So now, here we go. Back when God first put folk on earth, there was no difference between man and woman. They did the same work and everything. And man got tired of fussing about who gonna do this and who gonna do that. So he went up to God and asked God to give him power over the woman so that he can rule her and stop all that arguing. And he asked God to give him a little more strength. And he do the heavy work and let the woman just take orders from him about what to do. So I told God that he didn't mind doing the heavy work if he could just boss the job. So now the Lord did all he was asked, and the man went on back home, and right off he started bossing the woman around. And the woman didn't like that at all, so she went up to God.
You give man all the power and then leave me none.
Well, you never asked me for none, and so I thought you were satisfied.
Well, I ain't with the man bossing me around like he took to doing since you give him all the power. I want half of his power. Take it away and give it to me.
I don't take back nothing after I didn't give out. It's too bad you don't like it, but you should have come up with him. Then I would have divided it half and half. Of course, the woman still wasn't satisfied, so she went to the devil. And the devil say, yeah, I'll tell you what to do. You go right back up there and you ask God for those bunch of keys hanging there by the mantel shelf and bring them on back here to me. And I'll tell you what to do with them. You can have more power than the man. So that's what she did. And when she brought the keys back, the devil said, now this one is the key to the bedroom. And this one is the key to the cradle. And this other is the kitchen key. So now you go on back, don't start no fuss. Just take the keys and lock up everything and wait for the man to come in. You can have your way. Well, the man tried to be stubborn at first, but he couldn't get no peace in the bed. He couldn't get nothing to eat. And couldn't make no generation to follow him unless he used his power to suit the woman. Wasn't doing him no good to have the power, because she wouldn't let him use it the way she wanted to.
Nuh-uh. I ain't in the mood. I already ate.
So the man tried to dicker with her. He told her he would give her half the power if she would just let him keep the keys half the time. But the devil popped right up and told him, no, you keep what you got and let him keep what he got. So the man went on back up to God and asked God to just let him at least have the key to the cradle so he'd know who was the father of the children. And God shook his head and told him, you gonna have to ask the woman and take her word. She got the keys. And I don't take back nothing I didn't give out. So the man went on back home and did like the woman told him for the sake of peace. And that's how come women's got the power over men's today.
I like that story.
I bet you do.
I like that story a lot. You know what? I got a one for you. I got a story for you. My auntie used to tell me the story to me and my cousins. It's called The Six Fools. See, now a fella went to court a girl, and after he courted her a long time, he began to talk of marriage. Her parents were very glad to hear him speak of it, for he was rich and strong. So they told the girl to go down to the cellar and draw some beer. They wanted to be married, you know. Now the girl took the pitcher and went down in the cellar. She turned the thing and, you know, let the beer run into the pitcher. Now, while it was running, she got to thinking that if the young man did propose to her in earnest and she should accept him and they get married and have a child, what would she name it? So she sat and thought, and the beer ran and ran. And after a long time, her mother wondered what could be keeping our daughter. So she went down to see what was the matter. What's the matter, daughter? You don't come back with the beer.
Mama, I just got to thinking that if the young man should ask me to marry him, and if I should accept him, and if we should marry and have a child,
what will we call it? Daughter, that is something to think about. So she sat down beside the girl and began to think too. Now the beer was still running, and they thought and thought. And after a long time, the father came down to see what was the matter.
Wife, why you letting all my good beer go to waste like that? I'm gonna be ruined. Our daughter hadn't married the young man yet, remember?
Well, we've just been wondering what to name the baby if the young man does propose marriage to our daughter, and she should accept, and they should marry and have a child.
Yeah, that is something to study about. I never thought about that.
So he sat down and began to think too. Now, after a while, the young man got worried and came to see all about them. He says, "What all are you doing sitting in a flood of beer?"
Well, we studying about what to name the baby if you and my daughter should get married and have one.
Now the young man says, "Well, you are the three biggest fools that I ever heard talk of. I'm going traveling for a year. And if I find three fools as big as you, I'll come back and marry the girl." So he traveled and traveled. And after a while, he saw a man leaping up in the air before a bush with some clothes on it. The man just kept on jumping up in the air and falling back. "What are you doing?" the young man asked.
With those in my trousers on the bush there, and I'm just trying to get in it.
"Well, why don't you take them in your hand and draw them on?"
Oh, I never thought about that.
That's one fool, said the young man, and went on. Now, way after a while, he saw a young man trying to pull up a cow on the roof by a barn, by a rope around her neck. Now, he pulled and pulled, but he could not pull the cow up out of the barn. "What are you trying to do?" the young man asked.
You see all that grass growing on the top of that barn there? I'm trying to get the cow up there so she can eat it.
"Why don't you go up there and toss it down to her?"
Oh, I never thought about that.
That's two fools, said the young man, and traveled on. Now, one day, he saw a woman rushing in and out of her house and was dashing in and out, pushing a wheelbarrow. Now, she had a wide board plank placed like a game plank and was dashing in and out with the wheelbarrow. "What are you doing in that wheelbarrow? I can't see anything in it."
"Oh, I scoured my kitchen and now I'm trying to haul in some sunshine to dry it."
"Why don't you open the doors and the windows and let it dry?"
"Oh, I never thought of that."
That is three fools. I found 3 fools as big as those I left. So I will go back and marry the girl. So he did. Now by that time I left. I know that was
a good one, Hattie.
I know it was.
All right, Henry, I'm done with you. Thank you, Henry. Come on back now. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Come on, Leroy. I believe you next. Yeah, that was a pretty good one, Hattie. I have to say, those fools did make me laugh. But I got
something better than that.
I got serious one now.
Oh.
All right. Now, you ready?
I'm ready.
There was a witch woman with a satyr cat that could get out of her skin and go and ride people she didn't like. They had this great big looking glass. Now, when she get ready to go out, she get before that glass naked. Before she shake herself, she would go and lay all her clothes out, spread them out on the bed so she wouldn't have no trouble when she get back. Then she'd go back before that glass, shake herself, and say,
"Oh, gee, slip 'em and slip 'em again."
And then that old skin would just slip off. And then she'd go out on the porch, and then she'd look back and she'd say,
I forgot something.
Then she'd go back to her keyhole, blow, and say,
Open door, let me come in again.
Then she'd go back and spread that old skin out before the fireplace, and she'd tear the old skin.
So remember who you are.
Now, one time, her old man she used to love so hard was eavesdropping her. And when she got away, he slipped in and salted the hide with pepper and salt. Now, she couldn't find her old used-to-be at his house to ride him nowhere, so she just made her way back home.
I'm the witch woman, but I believe I'm done lost out.
When she blew in the keyhole of the door got tighter. She squished herself and she blew and said,
Won't you let me in?
The old used to be came from behind the house and the door cracked, and there she went. She looked all around. Everything looked all right. Then she said to the old skin,
Let's go again.
When she tried on the old skin, it began to burn and sting. She took it off, laid it down, looked at it, picked it up again, and said,
Skin, old skin, old skin. Don't you know me?
Then she tried it on again, and it burned and stung again.
Gee whiz, old skin, this is me. I've been going and going, but I think my old used to be has conquered me.
Then the old used to be spoke from behind the house and said, You used to have me, but I've got you now.
That's why I don't mess with my old used to be.
I like that one.
I like it too. But you know what, Mac? We've been here all day, and I've only had this one customer. You've been busy all this time. It's like men don't think women are smart enough to cut hair.
No, not it. They just like the way I cut. That's all. It ain't all that. But I tell you what, I know women's smart.
How you know?
Well, I got a story about it.
Of course you do.
You want to hear it?
I want to hear it. Do y'all want to hear it? They want to hear it.
Oh, of course. And here it goes. There was a young man. Very nice young man, you know, nice family. Married a nice girl. And they loved one another dearly. And they lived so happily together. And the devil didn't like it. And in fact, he put in to break them up. And every scheme the devil could figure out, their love would overcome. One day, the devil met a woman named Sarah. And she was barefoot. And he said to Sarah, what you doing barefoot?
I ain't able to buy no shoes.
I got a job for you. And if you accomplish that job, I'll give you a new pair of shoes.
All right.
You know that young man and his wife?
Yeah.
I've been trying to break them up a long time. But every scheme I have don't take no effect.
I'll break them up if you give me them shoes.
So Sarah goes to the man's house. Now she seen him before she got there. He had a mole on his neck. He was out in the field plowing. So Sarah goes to the house, and the wife was bragging about her husband.
Oh, Sarah, isn't my husband so hard working? Oh, so handsome. He is handsome. Mm-hmm. There's one thing I don't like of him. That mole on his neck. You cut that off, and he will be perfect. How can I cut it off and he won't know it? Wait till he go to sleep. You take his razor and you cut it off. He is pretty now, but if anything will make him more pretty, I'll do it.
So, after dinner, the man went on back to the field and went to plowing. And Sarah, before she left, she goes down to the field and tell the man,
you know, I found out something today.
What?
You and your wife been together nearly a year, and you love her, don't you?
Yeah.
And she make out she love you too. Mm-hmm. But tonight, you go to bed, you stay awake and you cover your head. And when she started to pull the cover off your head, she gonna have your razor in her hand to cut your throat. Now, say I told you. Don't call my name. You'll see what I'm telling you is true.
Well, that evening, when I knocked off, wife had dinner ready. I eat, go to bed, cover up. And just when she think I'm asleep, she went to easing that cover off. I looked up and saw that razor in her hand. I said, "What? What are you doing with that razor?" I heard the day you was trying to cut my throat. Good as I've been to you. Long as we've been together too.
I just wanted to cut the mole off your neck to make you more pretty.
I'll put her out. Sarah went on back up to the devil. And the devil said, Sarah? Is that you?
Yeah. I done what I told you. I done broke them up. I want my shoes.
All right. Here you go. But anybody slicker than me, I don't want them close to me. Get back. I don't want you close to me.
You know what? All of these years we've been working together, and I never asked you about your family. Do you have any children?
Oh, yeah, I got some children.
Do you have any daughters?
Man, I got one.
Okay, well, I got a story about three daughters. Y'all want to hear it? Okay, I'm almost done with you, but you got to stay still with me. Stay still, all right? Okay. All right. So, a man had 3 daughters who went hunting to get something to eat. Now, the oldest one said, I sure would love a nice rabbit to fry. Now, the next one told him, say, my mouth was just set to smack on a nice fat cottontail. Now, the baby told him, say, if we don't get a rabbit, I ain't gonna eat a mouthful of nuts. So, they went out to the woods, but game was scarce. Then all of a sudden, they saw a rabbit. Now, all of them shot at the rabbit, and all of them say they killed it. They brought it home, and they told their daddy, well, we ain't got but one. So he said, y'all have to divide it. Now, in the end, they all wanted the whole rabbit to themselves. They wouldn't do that. So he didn't know what to do. Now, they carried it to the court, and the judge said, the one that do the sharpest trick can have the rabbit. Now, the oldest girl up and poured water through a needle's eye and never touched the sides. The next one poured a bucket of water in the thimble without running it over. Now the baby picked up a hickory nut, threw it in the air, took aim, and shot at it and busted in half. Now, some of the goodie go in the judge's mouth and the rest go in the daddy's mouth. They tasted it and said, ooh, you win the rabbit.
That one was a good one, Hattie. I had to tell you. That was a good one, Hattie. That was a good one. Yes, it was.
Okay, Barbara, I think I'm done with your hair. All right, thank you. Come again. Come again another time. All right. All right.
Leroy, Henry, y'all take care now. Come on, I'll see y'all in a couple weeks. Hattie, you do tell some good stories, but I don't know if they better than mine now, but you tell some good stories. I had to say. But for the sake of peace, Hattie, you had the best stories.
Thank you very much. Ooh, it looked like it's getting dark outside. We better close up. Thank y'all for coming. Hope I'll come tomorrow and hear some more stories. All right, I think I'm just about done cleaning up my station. I gotta head on home, but I'll see you tomorrow, Mac, all right?
All right, Hattie, you be careful out there now.
All right, you too, bye.
All right, bye.
I don't understand why this is happening.
Well, darling, it's complicated. Basically, Japan sent bombers to fly over Pearl Harbor.
I don't mean the war, Bob. I meant this. Us in the basement of an Algiers hotel. Bombs exploding outside. We could die here.
We're not going to die tonight. After all the joy that we brought to our boys, you think God would punish us like this? Force to spend our last hours with Bob Hope.
Now, wait a minute.
Over 300 shows. And this is our first air raid.
Yeah, well, air raids will make an audience react like it's nothing you've ever seen.
Please, Bob, don't be glib. Not now.
Can't cope with every bad situation with a joke.
I'm scared, Bob.
Well, all the more reason to tell a good joke. Isn't that why my last name's Hope?
Well, good is subjective.
Maybe it's why we're in Algiers, but it's not why we're here. We're here because we're at war and good men are fighting every day for what's right.
Men who are fighting for freedom. Some of them were mere boys. Some of them were crying.
Huh. Frances always makes him cry. If not by singing, then by telling him she's a married woman. You were on tonight too, Professor.
Thanks, Bob. It was a good show until,
The air raid started.
I sometimes forget we're at war when I sing.
The 500 men in army fatigues don't give it away.
You know what I mean? We walk out on stage and we have them. We make them smile, laugh.
Or cry in your case.
We remind them of what they're fighting for.
So it takes being evacuated to a basement in Algiers in the middle of an air raid for Bob Hope to be sincere?
Oh, yeah, well, all's fair in love, war, and the USO tour.
I heard rumors that they're killing people like me, the Nazis. That they're taking trainloads of Jews and just wiping them off the planet.
That can't be true. Can it? Figured traveling with two fools would get me in trouble.
Yeah, well, you'll get used to the bad jokes. But that you'll never get used to.
I'm in the mood for love, simply because you're near me. Funny, but when you're near me, I'm in the mood for love.
Well, one thing's for sure. You've got quite a set of pipes.
You're not too bad on the eyes either.
I'm just as talented as you two are,
Well, I know that you're the reason they put two fools like Barney and me on stage.
You both got a faraway look in your eyes just now. Where did you go?
I was back on vaudeville with Sid. Well, not that you two aren't swell company.
I was on the 9th hole, wondering why I keep torturing myself. I'd give it up if I hadn't invested so much already in sweaters.
What do you miss about home, Frances?
In Lakeland, there were these swans that moved into the pond. No one's really sure how they got there, but one day in the summer of 23, there they were. I was only 10 when they came to stay. My daddy took me to feed them every weekend. And then one weekend, just as quick as they came, they were gone.
Oh, they didn't even say goodbye? Some kind of swan song.
I'm not done, Bob. You've had plenty of stage time tonight. Let me tell my story without your punchlines and interruptions. I'm not just some pretty dame, Bob. I'm not going to wait around for you to make jokes, especially not now. So, as I was saying, when they were gone, I was devastated, inconsolable. My daddy picked me up and took me home. And that night, he woke me up. And it was so dark that I could barely see in front of me. He took me out on the front lawn and patted the wet grass, asking me to lay down. And he pointed directly above us at this swan made of stars. Cygnus, he said,
Zeus turned into a bird ready to fly off into another affair.
Sounds about right.
Shh. At least that's what my daddy said. I think it was Zeus trying to get away for a while, flying off to live on some tiny pond in Florida. Ever since that night, whenever I'm far from home.
Which is most days.
I go up. I look for that swan.
That's a beautiful story, Francis.
Sounds like it's right over us.
I just want you both to know this is the greatest thing in my life, just in case.
In case nothing. We've got a show tomorrow night, and I, for one, intend to be there for it.
Oh, we'll be there, Professor. Don't you worry.
I know. I just wanted you both to know. I just wanted to say it. Oh, Bob's joking. What we're doing really matters. We send those boys home in their hearts. It's only just for a few minutes. And I, for one, am proud to do it.
This war might last a while. Our boys might be away from home for a long time.
And we'll be there to make them laugh with a silly joke or make them cry with a song. Or make them remember home. Here's to many more adventures together.
Here's to less adventurous adventures on the next tour. When we get home, what's the first thing you're going to do?
Look up.
Ni hao, sawadee ka, konnichiwa, vanakkam, and welcome to Miami. In this video, we'll show you what to expect and what is required when you are an Asian American woman in Miami-Dade County. You're probably here for one of two reasons. A, grad school, or B, a bachelorette party left you behind. How do we know this? Statistics have shown that there is literally no other reason why an Asian American woman would willingly live in Miami. Now, if you're an Asian American woman who's lived in Tampa, Orlando, or Jacksonville before, you're probably wondering, well, what's the big deal? Miami can't be that different from any other Florida city. Oh girl, you're in for a world of hurt. Or as they like to say in Miami, a chancla to the culo. But no matter your reason for gracing the Magic City, the first thing you'll need to do is find a therapist. Don't listen to your parents, you definitely need one. Now you'll probably notice everyone is yelling. You might think they're mad at you. That's because they are. On general principle, everyone is mad at everyone in Miami, but they are especially mad at you. Why? It could be because you're driving the speed limit on 95 or because you poured a cafecito the wrong way, but mostly it's because they think you will take it. It's like someone got here before you and said, hey, you see that Asian girl over there? She can't say no to her parents and she's a huge people pleaser. Oh, no, nothing's wrong with her. It's just like a cultural thing or whatever. Anyway, if you're looking for someone to take it out on, she's the one. See ya! Now, if you're one of those tan Asians, at least once a month you will find yourself at a Bravo's supermarket because, well, limes are cheaper there. Inevitably, an abuela in the olive oil aisle will ask you a question in Spanish. You will get awkward about it, and she will say, ah, China? And the correct answer to that is sí, even if you aren't Chinese. You may be thinking, but I don't know Spanish. Oh, sí, tú hablas español. Aquí, el español manifiesta de tu corazón. Say whatever comes to mind, like, ¿Dónde está el Palacio de los Jugos? The worst thing that can happen is this abuela will take you home, feed you, and insist that you marry their grandson. In any case, it's a cultural experience and you will get free food, a rosary, and a husband. So shut up and just go with it. As you're navigating your experience in Miami, you'll notice that the oversized cocktails on Ocean Drive are not worth it, and also rich white people trust you. The list of people rich white Miamians trust is as follows: other rich white people, Asian women, poor white people, and everyone else. This makes it easy for you to be approved for housing, get jobs, and babysit their children. Similarly to how they treat their small dogs, rich white people want you to believe that you're white too! Oh! But despite the amount of Starbucks gift cards you'll receive in lieu of actual compensation, you are not white. But you are, in fact, an essential tool in helping dismantle white supremacy. On behalf of the other 2 Asian American residents in Miami, we are so happy to have you here. For every creepy guy at Dadeland Mall who goes out of their way to interrupt your shopping experience just to tell you they have an Asian ex-wife, there is a dope Cuban bakery that will learn your name and give you extra pastelitos every time you order. For every drunk guy in Coconut Grove who thinks you're trying to sleep with him, there is a drunk wife who thinks you're trying to steal her husband. But also, there is a loud party with loud people who love you loudly. There is a community of people off the beaten path of US 1 who will kiss you on the cheek, celebrate you, and make you feel like the 305 has always been your home. So, my Asian American sister, we're all rooting for you. But if it ever gets too much, come find us. We're all here in Broward County, behind the Go Bistro ramen place where it's safe.
Will you stand still? The photo will be blurry if you move.
You're not behind the camera yet.
No, but you will have to be very still.
Well, I hate this.
We need one good photo of you.
Why?
I've explained this to you.
I know him in Cleveland for years. You think Henry cares what I look like now?
I do. He has to know you're serious about your offer.
I'm serious. I'm a businesswoman. Besides, he saw me in person a few years ago. I haven't aged that much.
It's just a good reminder that you exist. And men like Mr. Flagler get hundreds of offers. It'll make him keep you in mind.
Sounds like I'm offering him more than land for my railroad.
Must you always be crude?
You're the one pushing my photo so he remembers me.
I'm not pushing you. It'll be kind of a business card for you. For a woman in business.
I don't need a business card. He doesn't need a photo. I just have to get Henry down here to see this place again.
It may be difficult. The weather is terrible up there.
Good. It's beautiful down here. Sunny and warm.
They're having a freeze.
Very good.
Why?
He won't be able to get out.
So you're stuck?
No, that may be good news.
Why?
If they lose all the groves to a freeze, he might be willing to consider extending the railroad south to us. Start more groves and farming down here. Perfect.
Is that all you think about? Getting the railroad down here?
It will change everything. Business, international visitors, vacationers, gateway to South America.
Mother, don't create a fantasy. Now stand where I told you. If you'd stand still long enough, we'd have a good photo.
And what will Henry do with it? He'll think I'm a hussy sending my photo.
He knows you're not. You're a businesswoman and a good one.
Well, you turned me down the first time. What makes you think he'll agree this time?
Because I told you, it's freezing up there. The orange groves just north of Palm Beach are freezing. Well, he's a smart businessman. As you said, he'll see the benefits of bringing his railroad down here and creating groves.
I want him to.
What will you get out of it, Mother?
I'm not sure, but if there are more people, they will need services and I'll provide them. I see it as a trade-off.
What?
I'll give Henry some of my acreage for the railroad. I'll convince the Brickles to do the same.
Give him your land.
For a purpose, to enlarge this area. It will become an important city, I know it. We just need the railroad.
Don't give your land away. Father left you in a mess when he died. Mortgage to the hilt. Don't get in that position again.
You did all right. It wasn't so bad.
Of course it was. No money, a lot of debt. Do you want to go through that all over again? That's what'll happen if you give away all your land.
I won't give him all my land.
When Father died, you went from being a rich, educated woman to a drudge running a boarding house in Ohio just to keep the family together.
It may seem strange to you, Fanny, but ever since I moved down here, it has been my dream to see this wilderness turned into a prosperous city.
Why do you have to do it?
I don't have to. But if we can get the railroad down here, the population will grow, probably to over 100,000 people.
I like the way it is, Mother.
I know you do. But we need services here, and only people and the railroad will help us get them.
I guess.
You have to admit, the mild climate has helped you.
I wasn't sick.
You weren't well.
All right. Have it your way.
I need Henry to know it is warm down here.
Send him some orange blossoms.
What?
Send him some fresh orange blossoms so that he can see for himself the weather is warmer in South Florida. We're below the frost line.
You are brilliant.
And here's what we'll do. We'll send him some orange blossoms and a picture postcard of a grove. We'll make it look so warm and inviting. He won't be able to resist.
And you can take pictures of the water and tropical trees.
And pictures of the businesses that have already opened here. Make it seem as if we're already flourishing.
And we are, Fanny. We already have a hotel. We need to make it easy for people to get down here to enjoy the warm weather when it is winter in the north.
You sound like an advertisement for selling, I don't know, ladies' swimsuits.
Good. That's good. We live in a time where women have to be inventive if they want to get anything done. If it means paying off Henry to get what I want, then so be it.
You mean let him think he's helping out a poor, helpless female?
I'll play that part if I have to. That's just the way it is. If this is the path I have to go down, I'll take it. That doesn't make me feel like any less of a businesswoman.
It can make your dreams come true. I get it. I hope we will eventually be able to have more rights. Be able to do business the way men do.
Probably not in my lifetime. You work on it for me.
I will. Okay, I'm ready. Stand still.
You know what is going to happen to this photo? Nothing.
We'll send one to Henry. And I want a print too, to remember you by.
Otherwise you'll forget me? What, am I dying?
Not at all. You're being ridiculous. It's the thing to do. Photographs for the family and friends. The new portraits.
The thing to do. In a few years, no one will know or care about me. I'll be forgotten. My name will mean nothing.
That won't happen.
How can you be so sure? The only thing left will be a picture of some unknown woman looking miserable in a black dress because her daughter insisted on taking a photo.
Your dress is blue.
It will look black in the photo. Why do this? You won't want to keep it after I'm gone.
Mother.
If you have any children, ever, they won't want to keep it either. I'll be hung on a wall somehow, somewhere until I'm faded. Or in some dark corner where I'll just be forgotten and no one can see me.
Drama, Mother. Drama.
And after that, I'll lie in a box somewhere until some future relative puts me out in the trash or gives me away along with other forgotten things they found in the attic.
Mother, please.
Please what? The next thing you'll know, it will become fashionable to collect old photos.
Don't be silly.
You'll see. I'll end up in some collection somewhere, hanging on a wall with other old things. They'll call it Jasper's Country Corner or something like that, and thinking they're so clever. I'll have to stare out at people eating their breakfast until the end of time. I don't want to end up somewhere where nobody knows me. Really. Why take a photo at all?
Because when the city is long established, they'll need to know what you looked like so they can build a statue of you right in the middle of town.
Don't be silly. Why would they do that?
Because if you succeed in bringing the railroad down here, you'll be considered the creator of this area.
I think this area needs a new name.
You don't like Fort Dallas?
No. I think it should be named for the river.
Miami. An Indian name.
Yes. It has a nice ring to it.
I like it. Then hereafter, you'll be called the Mother of Miami.
Now who's being silly?
Stand still. I'm ready. Now don't move.
Oh, we don't want a blurry photo of the Mother of Miami hanging down from a restaurant wall.
Just smile with your mouth closed and we'll get a good photo.
That's a smirk. Here goes.
Hold it. Hold it. A little more. Now let me change the plate and we'll take another.
One is enough. Blurry or not, that's the way I'll look from now on. A frumpy older woman.
Let's do one for the diners then. Get your I'm staring down at you while you're eating your pancakes look. Hold it.
Did you ever have the feeling that you ought to go? Did you ever have the feeling that you ought to stay? Well, I know a man who's gonna have the last say. Who else but the weatherman?
And here's the latest weather report.
Hurricane Hazel, nicknamed
Hell hath no fury, merely winks at Florida, then rips into Calabash, North Carolina, dealing a devastating blow to residents who are being urged to evacuate as soon as...
I don't care! You can't stop me! I am going to work!
Goddamn bitch, young Griff. You're not working, not while you live in this house.
Then I'm out!
You're out, are you? We'll see about that.
Don't you take another step towards me!
You damn wildcat. Not fit to be my wife or mother.
Nobody is going to tell Roxy O'Neal how to act. You knew me when you married me. Don't ask me to stay at home forever. Work is inspiring. Your family's gin-infested gossip fests are not. Yes, I'm a mother, but I'm also an active human being. The better for my kids. They see me and they learn. No, ma'am. I've got to do something. I'm expected to stay home and what? Swallow my pride, my personality, my future. Drinking, fighting, threats. Can all just fade away. I am a world changer.
While the cameramen are setting up, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to interview you today.
Well, I haven't seen you before. What's your name?
I'm Veronica Garrett. I do news at noon.
Okay.
That's probably why you haven't seen me. Unless you watch TV at that time. But you're probably too busy for that. And I'm new. Okay, I'm going to introduce you and then we'll start the interview, all right?
Okay.
Hello, I'm Veronica Garrett here in Miami with Roxy O'Neal Bolton in her Coral Gables home. Mrs. Bolton moved to Florida from Mississippi right after high school and has been stirring up trouble ever since. But for women concerned with their rights, it's a welcome kind of trouble. Co-founder of the Florida chapter of the National Organization for Women.
Known to friends and foes alike as NOW.
Bolton conducts almost all her activities right here at home.
In between tending to my family's needs.
Mrs. Bolton, you've actively fought for women's rights for about 10 years now. I'd like to know, who's your inspiration?
Well, through all the hard times raising Randall on my own, far from family, I heard the words of Eleanor Roosevelt. Young people must not lean on their tradition. They must be proud of it, while taking into account the advice of the elders and having the courage to look ahead toward new solutions. That's what I'm doing.
What are you at the NOW organization hoping to achieve?
Well, our first goal is to get the Equal Rights Amendment passed. It, among other things, would allow women to be paid the same rate as men for the same work. Now, wouldn't that be something?
Well, I agree, Mrs. Bolton. It'd also be nice if they were allowed to do the same work.
How true. Another of our goals is to ensure that all women, no matter what they do, are free to access a path of their own choosing and create new opportunities without being punished socially for it. How is it working as a reporter, Miss Garrett?
Well, I do like my job. Some people say that women in the NOW group hate men. Any truth in that?
Well, that's ridiculous. My first marriage ended, but David Bolton, my current husband, supports everything I do. We both support the family. We don't hate men. We just want to be listened to. It's high time women have the same opportunities.
Some people say that women don't do the know-how to do certain types of jobs.
That's all in the education and training. Don't get me started on the Ivies. They're a boys' club. Harvard has been open to women for a good piece, but Yale, finally in 1969, is getting co-ed classes. Where did you go to school, if you don't mind my asking?
Florida State is my alma mater.
Oh, well, you can be proud of that. FSU has had co-ed classes since 1947, is that right?
You're well informed, Mrs. Bolton. It's also had racially mixed enrollment since 1963. I've heard that you're lobbying to stop employers from firing pregnant women. Can you talk about that?
Take airline stewardesses, for example. Bumped from their jobs the minute they show. Compare that to the hostess image, right? Tight little uniform, bright red lipstick, high heels, perennially single, even when married. Mothers? Forget about it.
And yet, I suppose being a stewardess is one of the few ways women can travel independently.
Well, I hope it's worth the humiliation of being fired just because you want both a job and a family.
And there she is, Miami's champion for women's rights, Mrs. Roxy O'Neal Bolton. Thank you, Mrs. Bolton.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
I'm Veronica Garrett, signing off.
Now, we'll have to have us some coffee because I want to talk, but first I want to see what's going on with this cane brewing offshore.
Edith's wrathful storm surge strikes a death-dealing blow in Nicaragua, then swipes into South Texas, damaging homes, injuring people, and continuing to...
Now, what in the name of, why are these hurricanes always named after women? In general, men are far more violent. Now, I really do want to hear about your work situation. Let's talk.
My work situation is fine. I'm doing what I want to do.
You wanted to do this interview?
I was given the assignment.
Because the men wouldn't touch it, right?
Well, they feel a little threatened.
Of course. They're afraid I'll pull their pants down. Come on, it's just you and me now, so.
Well, it is a bit annoying when they ask me to make coffee.
And do you?
No. I usually just wait somewhere until starting time.
Oh, well, that can't be comfortable.
Beats being mistaken for their mom/maid. But I'm really okay.
If you say so. Excuse me. Hello, Mrs. Roxy O'Neal Bolton. He did what? Oh, Claudia, dear, you have to get to the police. The officer said what? But did you tell him he was separated? I see. Well, what about the doctor? How could you exaggerate something like that? Doesn't matter if you are married to... He forced himself on you. Claudia, there must be something we can... Of course you can. No, David won't mind. Come right over. Okay. Come over. Sorry, a friend of mine.
I couldn't help but hear. I've heard of cases where the husbands track the wives down. Does he know where you live?
You've got a good point. I just can't think of any place that would be completely safe. That's it. I'm calling the mayor. I just have to do something.
Go right ahead.
Yes, I'd like to speak to the mayor, please. This is Roxy O'Neal Bolton. The hurricane meeting. Will you tell him this is an emergency? Thank you. Oh, hello, Mayor Frey. How's Maria? Great. Give her my love. What's the emergency? Well, Mr. Mayor, would you allow any man, even your father, to violate your mother? No, I'm not being facetious. I'm being blunt. Most rapes in this state go unreported. Women are made to feel ashamed. They're not the attackers. What I want is for you to get me in contact with the Jackson Memorial Board member, or 3. Let the board members know you're in favor of treatment for abuse. Because you are, right? I'll remind you soon. Okay, to avoid that, just get me those board members. What for? I'm going to start some kind of safe place for women. Yes, at the hospital. Well, that's great. See what you can do, Mr. Mayor. Bye now.
Mrs. Bolton.
Call me Roxy.
Roxy, I'm gonna report on this. And on the evening news.
It's not instant. We're marching against rape tomorrow on Flagler Street. Are you in, Miss Garrett?
Call me Veronica. I'm gonna ask if I can cover it.
This is the Evening News, March 21st, 1974. Today, thanks to Roxy Bolton, a local feminist, a rape crisis center was opened at Jackson Memorial Hospital, the first of its kind in the nation. This historical event—
Sorry to interrupt, Veronica. We have breaking weather news. So Donna slashes viciously up from the Caribbean into Florida, flirting with the East Coast, tearing into a number of the islands that surround the East Coast. A number of these islands continue to be affected by this.
Now, wait a minute.
Residents who have not evacuated are being urged to stay indoors, away from Donna's destructive path.
Stop! I'm talking to you.
On the west, Donna swerves viciously.
What's the name of that hurricane?
What's your problem, lady?
The name's Roxy. I just wanted to get your attention. Stop naming hurricanes after women. I know. What about naming him Dawn or the Hurricane?
What?
That was a joke. Here's a better idea. You've got to name them after politicians. Like Hurricane Goldwater slams over Tennessee, wreaks havoc through the South.
Come on, lady. That's unfair to Mr. Goldwater.
I see. But it's okay to make women seem angry and violent and dangerously sexy at the same time?
What's wrong with that? Hurricanes are just scarier if they're named after women, that's all.
That makes no sense.
What's the holdup?
This lady's bothering me.
The name's Roxy.
What's your problem with the way we name hurricanes?
What's a hurricane like, Mr. Weatherman?
Bob. It's a violent, raging tunnel of wind.
And only women are like that? Do you feel like that, Veronica?
Only around Weatherman Bob here.
Are you on the rag, Veronica?
You are sickening. You know I'm pregnant, right?
Well, there goes your career down the drain.
No, more like the completion of my life. I'll come back better and stronger.
If they let you back.
Do you have kids, Bob?
Sure, 2 of them.
Did they ruin your career?
No, but I'm a man. I don't have to bear children.
So what do you have to do? Support them? Or not?
Now, wait a minute, lady. I support my wife and my kids.
They support you.
My wife and my kids support me? I don't think so.
Who? I in that shirt you're wearing.
Who packs your lunches? You put little notes in your lunchbox? Ugh, gross.
Now, wait a minute. I love my lunchbox notes.
Before or after you make fun of them with the boys and throw them in the trash? Yeah, I see how you support your wife.
Can't be a wimp.
Heaven forbid you should show some feeling.
My first husband was like you. Never could be vulnerable. Those bottled up feelings just made him violent, like the hurricanes you're describing.
Come on, what do you ladies want?
We want to be treated with respect and decency. We deeply resent being associated with disaster. Women create life. Veronica's creating life in her body right now.
Hurricanes wipe out lives, so not us.
Given the fact that we are 50% of the population, why are we 100% of the hurricanes?
And 100% unnoticed.
I noticed your legs, Veronica.
Ew, gross.
Disgusting.
What? It's a compliment.
Okay, I noticed you have a face by staring at it. I don't make comments about your physical attributes. When's the last time someone said something about your body?
My wife. Last night.
Is Veronica your wife?
No.
Then maybe don't comment on my body or my bodily functions, Bob.
Yeah, you never minded before. What changed, Veronica?
I've always minded when you and your group of boys stare me down, make your dumb comments. I just keep walking. What would happen if I stirred the waters? Would I get more assignments? No. I can't even wear slacks. I'm required to wear dresses just so you can ogle my legs. Well, I'm done. Now I see if I don't make waves like a hurricane, nothing will ever happen. I'll still have to put up with your crap. Well, I'm done.
Well, I never knew you felt that way.
Just help us change this one thing. No more acting like crazy storms or women.
I gotta go back to my report, but I'll think about it.
You do that, Bob.
Yes, ma'am. Meanwhile, an overwater passage rips into the Jersey shore, wreaking havoc on each of the northeastern states that continue to see the effects of this terrible.
It's been such a pleasure to have you on, Mrs. Bolton. It's been a couple of years since we last spoke.
That's right. It was 1977.
One last question. You tend to rile up a lot of people. Do you do that on purpose?
People always ask why I'm not in politics. It's simple. I have no tolerance for playing games. I tell it like it is. I couldn't do that if I ran for office. I'm not trying to upset people, but the truth is disturbing.
On the other hand, a lot of people fight back, partly because of your public actions. Thank you, Mrs. Bolton. And that's it for Women in the News. I'm Veronica Garrett, signing off.
It must feel good to be in a pantsuit.
Oh, it's pretty cool to be able to cover up the legs. Now, on for equal pay.
Well, you let me know if I can help, all right?
You're my inspiration, Roxy.
Oh.
Thank you. By the way, I think you might want to turn on the TV. Something you might want to see.
Well, folks, this is historical. The storm brewing in the Atlantic Ocean goes by the name of Bob. That should make some feminist folk very happy. Yes, we're naming hurricanes after both men and women now, starting now. And we have our own local Roxy O'Neill Bolton to thank for that.
My name is Zorina Exie Frey, and I am going to read 2 poems for you today. The first one will be entitled Black Cinderella, and the second one will be entitled A Colored Girl's Creed. Both of them have been published in my book entitled Don't Mind Being Black. Well, actually, I co-authored it with Jake Webster, a great sculptor in Elkhart, Indiana. You really should check him out. So I am going to just jump right into it. And here we go. Black Cinderella. I hold my head in defeat. Sometimes it's hard to breathe. It feels like I'm being squeezed, surrounded by a heartless party. They don't care because they're not concerned. They're not concerned because they're above the tax bracket or light enough to pass. I am neither. I have to care. I can't hide or blend in. I am them. I am the them they hate. I am the handout. I am the charity. I've lived in poverty. My winters were warmed with kerosene heat. I stood in line with my mama for free cheese. They say she didn't work enough, that she sat on her butt. The truth is, she worked so much, I didn't see her enough. I grew up on food stamps, powdered milk thanks to WIC. My free school lunch was punched on a blue ticket I quickly stuffed away. My clothes were on Kmart layaway. I really don't want a handout. I just want help. I'm not asking for anything free. I'm just in need. It wasn't always easy for me. The system isn't designed to be. My black face isn't painted on good enough. Not all of us can tap dance quick enough. My answer must be a new age. Yes, sir, or no, sir, or some hostile. Liberal, crazy, too far left. I have to reject who I really am to melt in the pot, but they do not. Any pride in my identity will be threatening. And to reach that pay grade, I must say what they want to hear. Be like Lee Daniels, the butler. Put on my white suit, serve, and shut the fuck up. The Cinderella of America, sweeping up ashes of skeletons in the closet, step siblings cash out on our deposit, shining like the belle of the ball. But I will ring the bell to tell, remind, and proclaim that even when the pumpkin takes the stage coach and little rats run all about it, we have to accept that we are all part of it. For some parties, we'll always be that inward. Meanwhile, always trying to slip into our glass slipper. Yeah, any writer will know that, a work, written work is never really truly done. There's always some editing to do. And so I say that because I can't remember the inspiration for the original inspiration for that poem. And I usually can, but like I said, just so many things have happened that just call for a new version of it. Now, this next poem, I do remember exactly what inspired me to write this. And this is when I had saw the movie entitled Color Girls. And I was told that I saw the Tyler Perry version, which I'm told I did a discredit to the actual play. Nonetheless, this is the poem that I wrote based off of watching that movie. And along with some other things that was going on in my life. And that'll be self-explanatory as I continue in this poem. So here we go, A Colored Girl's Creed. Excuse me as I borrow from the colored girl's creed. The fact that I'm happy makes you sad. Your anger toward my happiness makes me indignant. I hear your nasty words even though you didn't say it. I'm not speaking in metaphors, I'm speaking to you in English. I'm speaking plainly because I am pissed. I'm pissed because my happiness makes you mad. I'm indignant because my sisters are acting ignorant. I wish they'd repent. All of them aren't colored either. Remember, we're supposed to be our brother's keeper. Because of the shortage of men, we stab each other in the back. Grim Reaper, forget that dude. You can keep him. But it's not all about a man. It's about resenting each other and the nasty competition we get under. Excuse me as I borrow from the colored girl's sorrow. And they wonder why Black women have attitudes. For centuries, women have always upstaged one another by holding the better position, better clothes, better status, more money. She's respected, but you can't upstage beauty, skills, humility, and ideals. Those gifts are given, never taken, often imitated, never duplicated. I'm Black. In some regions, there's minimal room for that. Besides, there aren't too many people who enjoy submitting to Black leadership. Only a select few are still handpicked. Excuse me as I dip into the colored girl's script. Blackness. Some try to get away from it. I embrace it. I'm not a racist. I'm a realist. I speak of what I know. I speak of what I see. Harsh words often reflect a harsh reality, and I refuse to pop a few pills to make me see differently. I am conscious of an inner strength within me. And to flip the scenery, parts of my family are not of my color or culture, but they have embraced me more than some of my so-called brothers and sisters. So with a double-edged sword, I've been cut, and with it I speak. Excuse me while I borrow from the colored girl's creed. Dealing with my life, but apologizing for my plight. I guess I'm supposed to pretend like none of it happened and be all right. The consequences. This mentally taught me how to control my emotions. This mentally suited me up to stand against opposing motion. Still, I'm supposed to get over it. Heck, I jumped, cartwheeled, and catapult continuously because every now and again I'll have some insecure person testing me. So, as long as there are bitter individuals who criticize and hate, I will forever be that indignant Black woman you love to hate. Thank you for listening. Both of those poems can be purchased in the publication entitled Don't Mind Being Black, co-authored with Jake Webster.
The storm is not letting up. Each year I feel the storms become more violent, almost as if they were enraged by our presence. Oh, thank goodness she's arrived safely.
Mary Brickle is a force of nature. No storm is going to keep her from her travels. No, sir. Is Julia in the carriage?
No. Perhaps Julia made the trip separately.
Well, her daughter has been unwell as of late. After losing Mr. Tuttle, no one should have to endure such heartache.
Well, Flora, have faith. As surely as the sun rises and sets, all shall be well. God only gives us what he knows we can endure.
Oh, what a delightful day! Flora, Bella, it has been far too long since I last visited Peacock Inn and my darling friends.
Well, let me get your coat and...
Oh, yes, my baby orange tree. Be gentle. It holds our future in its soil.
Well, Mary, are you working on a new poem? I do love your theater nights. We must have another one soon.
All in good time, lovelies. Give me time to settle in before I tell you all the glorious news.
Well, it wouldn't be the same without some theatrics from our Mary. Where's Julia? She wrote that she would be attending a little meeting today.
Well, the water is getting a little rough for her to take the boat from Jack's Bight. Oh, no, sir. We thought she would travel with you from your home.
Jules sends her regards. She's safe at home. Although I do believe she would have braved these waters all on her own just to make the travels a challenge. It's news of her that I bring. But alas, all in good time.
Well, you speak in riddles, and you know I solve riddles. Ladies, what say you I make up some beds so you can stay until the morning? The inn has been deserted since the great frost last year. 2 years of this blight has left everyone distraught. Polite company would be most welcome.
Well, I did ask for this storm just for this reason. It is decided you must stay.
Well, you'll not hear any opposition from my lips. Even though a storm is raging outside, I know this place will hold more peace than at my home. William is on the brink of tragedy with no new business investors this year. But fortune shines on those who wait.
If only they could see how rich our resources are in the middle of this blasted frost. They would take notice faster than you could say the M.I. in Miami. Remember that letter Julia wrote to friend Henry Flagler last year? Yeah. He has no faith in her judgments and no money to invest in such a risky venture.
Well, he's a scared little pup is what he is. No, we really do need that train. How easily Julia could take her daughter to the hospital if only we had the train.
Chivalry is dead. Mary and Julia both offered him land for the train and still nothing.
And we're left alone to build the great city of Miami. It is an endless battle.
Agnes in every letter says, "No one wants to live in your swamp." My traveling friends think I have lost my mind.
Your sister would rather always stay home. God forbid her boots get dusty.
Well, she would come out of her home quick enough for an invitation to a ball.
"'Tis only the music of nature. We would have some of the finest champagne I ever did taste at our ball. Ella, where did you get this angel vintage?"
My cousin in France has a vineyard. I'm never without. I do love my family. I'm sorely missed. It's been ages since I visited them in England.
Family is everything. Whilst I visited my aunt in Australia, we would make wine from fruits in her garden. Bella, I just had the grandest idea.
Another grand idea. Your last grand idea at your last ball left us stranded in the middle of the bay on a boat with a hole.
True. We did have one wondrous evening that will never be forgotten.
Well, my only question, Mary, is will this grand idea influence Mr. Flagler to bring us his big old train?
Yeah. It shall be called the Train to Miami.
That's way too long of a name. What did you do to my oranges?
This tastes like paradise. Give mimosa.
That's a name for you. Mimosa.
Well, that's it. Mimosas. 'Tis only the music of nature. Ladies, I would like to propose a toast to us, the women of this land, and to Julia, and to Henry, and his big old train. I have the distinct honor of delivering you this orange tree sapling and the news of the century. Julia Tuttle has indeed convinced Henry Flagler to bring his big old train to Miami.
Praise be.
Amen. They have finally seen the magical wonder of this paradise on earth.
It only took years of persistence, a lot of land, and a never-ending frost. We sent this magical orange blossom. Julia never lost faith. Ladies, we have cause for celebration.
I shall send my angel vintage to Henry.
Well, I will send my mimosas.
And I will send some invitations for a ball. Imagine the stories history will tell.